world, or if you're watching this not live, congratulations, you have made it to the 26th episode of Changes, which is a Google Hangout on air hosted by me. I'm Sally Ember, Edd. I am an author and a blogger and a host, and I am so excited today to have, for the first time ever on my show, a slam poetry award-winning performer, James Gordon.
Hey.
Say hi to everybody.
Hey, everybody. Woo!
So what do you want people to know about you, James?
Ladies and gentlemen, what you're witnessing right now is a piece of history. You are in the presence of what people like to say is one of the best voices in poetry and storytelling, the most electrifying man in poetry, international award-winning author, burgeoning actor, several things to my acclaim, and just plain gorgeous. Good morning.
And wait, we forgot modest.
No, not at all. Not at all. That's a waste of time. I always think modesty is a waste of time. It's
I
almost
agree.
Self-deprecation times 2 almost. So it's like, nah.
Good. Let's not pretend that you're not as good as you are. I totally agree.
No.
And one of the things I really loved about the fact that you call yourself the greatest poet alive is that you are acknowledging among your peers and even among other people way older than you who've been doing it for longer that you stand out, that you really have a talent. So how did you discover this talent? That's what I want to know. When did you first start doing your poetry as a performance?
I started writing in 2007, and I started my performances in 2009, and I stunk performing-wise. I stunk. I sounded like everybody else. Like a lot of people like to sound like other people. I sounded like other people.
Can you give us an example? Like, can you show us what you used to sound like?
Minus the expletives, because I don't use expletives in my poetry now. But minus the expletives, it would sound something like this. I went over the wall, see, and I was looking for gold, and understand that, and that's like everybody else sounds.
Okay, so it's a style that you felt wasn't yours.
Right, so what I did was, I said, you know what, I have a powerful voice, commanding, that's my strength, I can write, so people have to hear the things I say, and I have to be different from everyone else. So I patterned my own style, and no one sounds like me. That's one of the things people say, my style is distinctive. I keep my poetry very simple. I'm not trying to lose you. I want you to see what I see. So
you know what I really hate about the way some people read poetry in public poetry readings? They sound like this, and then they end their line like this. I just want to smack them.
Okay.
I mean, nobody wants to hear that junk. It's terrible. And they all sound like each other. When I was growing up and a young adult, and even until very recently, the last time I went to a poetry reading, too many people sound like that. So can you give us a sample of your unique style? Again, we're PG-13 on Changes, so remembering that. Give us a little bit. Can you show us how you wow everybody with your uniqueness?
Sure. This is from my first book, The Confessional Heart of a Man. Death is certain. My love exceeds eternity. If reincarnation be a possibility, then let me die 1,000 times so that I may love you over and over again. For my love is everlasting. My poem.
Oh, that just totally pierced my heart. I'm not exaggerating. I felt that right in my heart center.
Yeah,
thank you. That was beautiful. And you know, I'm a Buddhist, so you talk about reincarnation, you're talking about my home country here.
Oh, that's awesome.
You didn't even do that on purpose. I know you didn't.
No, that's just part of the thing. I'm a romantic.
That is so romantic. It is.
I'm not a hopeless, because I don't believe in that part, but I'm a romantic, and I believe our lives are better. Our interactions between people we care about or feel something for with romance makes it even better. One of the first books, one of the plays I ever read, and what really inspired me to write poetry, Cyrano de Bergerac.
Ah, Yes.
And it was so poignant because here was this guy who had this nose, and he wasn't quote unquote society's version of attractive, unquote. And but Roxanne loved him because of the way he could convey his feelings. And I said, wow, he could do that in fiction. I could do that in real life, perhaps. So, and that was decades ago when I thought that. But in the progression, words are very powerful, both spoken and written, especially when you use them well and paint pictures. So.
Well,
That's
so
all
I'm going to ask you, because you mentioned this a minute ago. You said you just started writing poetry in 2007. What happened that made you want to start writing poetry?
I got in a little bit of trouble, little legal trouble, and I had a few days to sit aside and contemplate. Oh my goodness, this is not good. And I started writing.
Wow. So it had to do with having the time and the seclusion, or
Right.
away from your regular schedule, and it inspired you to do something different.
Right. I think had that not happened to me, you and I wouldn't be talking right now. There would be no GPA. There'd be none of that. It would have just been another path more. That's just my opinion.
Oh, no, that's not just your opinion. That is the definition of the multiverse. Everything that can happen is happening simultaneously, multiple timelines all the time. There are always fork points all the time. So there's a point at which you did do that thing that led you here. And there are lots of other points where you did that thing, but it didn't lead you here. And then there's some points where you didn't do that thing at all, and it led you somewhere else. Many.
I like the way you put that. I definitely like the way you put that. Yes. Like, you know, you see that. They always do it in movies where something could happen, parallel universes, things could happen. So the path I took led me here, and I'm glad. It hasn't been the most peachy at times, but I love it. I love performing. I love writing. I love sharing. I never thought I'd do an interview. Let me just be honest. I've done plenty of interviews, and I never thought I would do any of it. You know, I never thought about awards or anything like that. I'm so grateful, so blessed to be able to do this stuff. You know, that's why I give it all what I can.
So the poetry came first, and then you started the writing, the poetry, to express yourself and to move into a new creative motivation. Were you already acting at that point, or did you act as a performer later?
If you ask my mom or my brother or my dad, they always tell you I was acting. They always I was dramatic. But as far as TV and movies, no, that didn't start till 2013.
Oh, recently! Wow. So what was your first break, or what did you try out for that got you a part first?
There was a guy. He saw me do, which I'll share today, my story about being bullied. He saw me perform that, and he was like, wow, that was really, he said, your voice and your presence would fit a role we'd have for an FBI agent. And so I played that. I went and read the lines, and they said, you'll be great for this. And the first movie I was in was called Persian Version, and that's Version, ladies and gentlemen. I know everybody's like, did he say virgin? No, version.
Thank you for spelling it.
Yeah. So that was my first role, and then I got a part in this movie that's going national now, called Animal. It's
A-D-A-M? A-D-A-M, Adam?
No, Animals, like lions, tigers, bears, animals.
Oh, animals. I couldn't hear you.
Animals.
Okay, animals. Okay.
Yeah. So I was in that. I got speaking role in that again. And I'm very excited because you get to see your name in that movie, like the other one. You see your name in the credits. You get to speak, and then with this one's now, like I said, it came out first and it was very well reviewed, receptive. So now there's money behind it, and now it's going nationwide. It's like, oh my God, this is awesome, and I'm a part of it. So,
wow! So this video that I'm doing with you right now, this is going to be like, this is before. And then when you're really famous, people are going to go find this on YouTube and go, wow, that's James Gordon before he broke out. And who is that weird woman with him? And why do we care? You know?
Yeah, some people, if you ask them now, they'll say, "Oh my goodness, he's already Hollywood now," or they always say that they think I'm famous because they've seen me on TV or
Well,
you know.
let's talk about that. Where would we see you on TV if we're TV watchers? Where have you already appeared and where are you going to appear?
Sure. There's an episode of Sirens on the USA Network. It's called Python something, and I play the fireman. And I'm
Okay,
prominent.
wait a minute. I have to stop you because we say firefighter on my show. Okay,
Firefighter. Excuse me. Firefighter.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Okay.
So I was prominent in that. There are several episodes of Chicago Fire. You can see me in, but there's one in particular where I played the orderly, and the guy had hurt himself, and I had to lift him off the gurney and onto a hospital bed. So you can see me. I always find my way to the camera somehow or another.
So you're in the hospital. You're working as an orderly. Okay.
Yes.
And is that a recurring role? Like when they bring people to the hospital, we might see you in Chicago Fire?
That is actually. But the funny thing about that, this next episode is big. This coming Tuesday, which would be April 7th.
Yeah.
This Chicago Fire is this episode is just gonna blow you away. I'm not gonna tell you, except it's explosive. That makes more sense. It's explosive.
Okay.
And I play a patient. I play a flu patient there. So yeah, you got to check that out.
Okay, I'm telling my mom she's a big fan of that show already, and
Awesome.
I'm sure we'll record it so I can see it. It's on past my bedtime. I got to tell you, because I get up at 4 in the morning.
Okay.
I'm a meditator, so I go to bed around 8. So I miss a lot, but we record it and then we watch it during the day. So we're gonna check that out. And you said you're also on Chicago PD.
Yes. I played there was a crossover between Chicago Fire, Law and Order SVU, and Chicago PD. And I played on the Chicago PD episode as a DCFS supervisor. Once again, you can't miss me.
What kind of supervisor? Well, I didn't hear what you said.
DCFS.
Oh, Department of Children and Family Services.
Correct.
Okay. That is so exciting, James. That's like, you're really getting on the radar of these casting agents, right?
Yes.
Now, is this just one casting agent that keeps placing you, or are there several?
No, there are different ones who handle different shows, and I've been fortunate. Once again, I've been really fortunate and blessed to be placed. I lost weight too. Let me just mention that. I was a little heavier, and I lost weight significantly, and that helped them. Because Hollywood is Hollywood. It's what it is. So they were able to work a little bit more with me to put me on certain shows because of that, and because I'm dependable. I show up on time. Blah 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 blah. So I'm really so.
Now, Hollywood is Hollywood, but your Hollywood is in Chicago, right?
Yes.
You don't actually go to L.A.
No, not yet.
That's very convenient because you're already in Chicago.
Chicago's booming now with shows. There are a couple more shows that I've been a part of that are pilots. Love is a 4-letter word. And then I play a detective in this show called Runner. And it's a pilot. They just finished wrapping that. So they'll come out in the fall. So
Has it been picked up? Like, are you sure that it's going to be on?
Say again, I'm sorry.
Has your pilot been picked up and it's really going to be scheduled?
I mean, yeah, it's going to be scheduled. So how you get that one shot?
Awesome.
That one shot, and then they'll see how the audience responds, the ratings, and then they'll go from there.
That is so great. I read this book written by a comic writer, Jennifer Weiner, and she wrote a whole book because she is a screenwriter and she has done TV shows. But she wrote a fictional book about a screenwriter who does TV shows, just to explain what happens and how it goes, the whole process, and what the role of the screenwriter is, and how it can get picked up or not get picked up, or how many episodes you get, and what they change, and what you're allowed to change, and what the screenwriter's allowed to say. And it was fascinating because I didn't know anything about it before I read that book, but it also sounded really, really, really hard to get a show all the way from the concept to actually being scheduled and then continuing. That's a really hard thing to do. She said in her book, I think she said it's 1 out of 50 that even gets to show its pilot, and then out of those, it's still only like 10% that get to do more than a pilot, and then like 1% that get to do like a whole season.
Right, because a lot of shows, a couple of shows I go on, they got to like 4 or 5 episodes and they were done.
Yeah, yeah. So that is really a very, very competitive market, and then you being picked to be in it means that you're also among a lot of competition where you're up against other men, maybe other black men. I don't know how they decide to cast people. Could be any kind of men sometimes, right?
Correct, correct. That's a very important point that you just made about picking, because a lot of people don't understand that you have to fit the role.
Mm-hmm.
Some shows aren't as diverse as others, and it's all according to what they're looking for. So that was a great point you made like that. So yeah, it's awesome to be a part of it. The thing, see yourself on TV, or even if you don't see yourself, you were there, helping out, doing something. Whether you were pantomiming, cheering. In one episode of Empire, I drove a cab. So.
Oh, you're on Empire?
Yes.
Do you get to sing?
No. Oh, no, you wouldn't want that.
I thought you did have a good voice, though.
I have a good voice as far as speaking and performing, telling storytelling, but no, I'm not a singer. You have to know what it is you can do really well, and then what you don't do really well, you just leave off for your own pleasure.
Okay, I get it. So, is your Empire episode already aired?
Yes, the season's over.
Okay.
I played a bouncer in an episode.
Oh.
And then I played an FBI agent in another episode. And I drove the cab.
They let you play more than one part. I wonder why they do that.
Well, a lot of times if you aren't really seen so much, which was kind of contrary because I was, they throw you in. And a lot of times as a background specialist, no one's really looking for you unless they're looking for you.
Right.
So you're watching the television show, so you're not looking at me unless you're looking for me. You're looking at the main actors.
But you do get paid differently if people recognize you or if you get to speak, right?
Yes.
And so I have a friend who's done some movie appearances, and he was in a movie once, and all you could see was the back of his head. So he had all of his friends calling up to saying, "I know who that is. That's this person," so that he would get a higher rate of pay.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
It worked. It totally worked because we all watch it. He was actually a walkthrough in the movie Big with Tom Hanks.
Right. Oh, wow.
And it was really literally a walkthrough. Like, remember in the movie they're in that big department store for a while, the one where he jumps on the keyboard and plays that chopsticks thing with his feet?
Right.
Do you remember that part?
I do remember that.
Before that happens, people are just walking through the department store, and my friend was one of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you don't even see his face.
especially on big productions like that. Like I got to be a part of the upcoming DC Batman versus Superman movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, now you got to stand up and show people what you're wearing then. Let me see. Let's see your shirt.
People who know me know I'm a huge Batman fanatic, so yeah, I love Batman. I don't know what to say about that. That's pretty much long and short of it. Love Batman.
Isn't Chicago what they modeled Gotham City after anyway?
I always tell people that. People argue that it's New York. They refer to New York as Gotham.
No, New York is Metropolis.
I thought so. I always thought so.
The people at DC Comics say that. They say that Metropolis is New York and Chicago is Gotham.
You get some people who tell you all up and down, like, oh, Gotham, because I always refer to my city a lot of times as Gotham. So
other people do too. They know because the DC comic people say so, and I believe them. I was a big DC comic fan when I was a kid. My brother and I are only 1 year apart, and we had all the DC comics. We read
Wow.
them all, every time. They only cost a nickel, and I remember when they went up to a dime, I was so mad.
Wow.
That's how old I am. I'm old.
Well, I remember going to the Walgreens, and they would have them on the turnstile, and I could take $1. Now I remember when they were 10 cents and 15 cents. I could take $1 and get several books, and that would just make my weekend reading the comics.
Then they had those special thick issues that cost a quarter. Those were only out like once every few months, right?
Wow. Yes, and then they had the really big books. If you remember, they were really big. I'm trying to think of how big they were. They're almost like poster big.
I know what you mean. Yeah, they were like 9 by 12.
Right. I had a few of those. So yeah, I loved comics. That's where I got a lot of vocabulary from, because there were words that I didn't know. My dad always made me look them up. So I got a lot of vocabulary from comic books.
We're missing the bottom half of your face here. Can you move your camera a little bit? Or move you? Yeah, that's much better. Thanks. Okay. We couldn't see your mouth when you were talking because you have this banner now at the bottom, the lower third that shows your name and
got the banner
cutting off your mouth. Yeah, that's good. All right, so we've got your TV career and your film career going. We've got your poetry performing going. Now, tell me about the music part. How did you decide to start combining your poetry with your music? A lot of people don't do that, but you seem to really thrive in that environment.
Oh, thank you. Basically, a lot of people used to say to me, have you ever tried doing your poems, putting your poems to music? It would sound really good. And I said, oh, no, I never thought of that until I performed with a band. Shouts out to Money Ron and my band. And so that people would see the videos, and they were like, oh, my God, you sound great with the band. And so then I said, okay, I started finding instrumentals on like YouTube or buying them off iTunes, and I would put the. Did I lose you? Oh, I think. Okay. And so I would do that, and then put the poems to them, and people seem to be receptive to them. So that's pretty much that. It gives a different element. When I make CDs, I've had people tell me that they play them in their car and they really enjoy it, and then that leads them to, because the written poetry is not for everybody. Performances may not be for everybody, but music. So I try to give everybody something that they can grab onto, and it keeps them in tune with me.
So I'm showing everybody one of your websites that has your songs, is what you call them. Now these songs, you're not singing. You're saying your poems and you're performing them with music in the background.
Correct.
And so the people on there with you are Cameo Holiday, Ron Ellerson, and Enjoy Yours. Is that a person?
Enjoy Yourself Entertainment. That's the name of the band.
Oh, Enjoy Yourself Entertainment. I couldn't see all of it. And those are the people that play with you while you're doing the vocals?
No, they play with me when I perform live. Like we were just at the Hard Rock Cafe, Chicago. So when we play live, those are members of my band. When I'm doing it myself, it's just me and a track I purchased.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then you put your whole new poetry book, The Warmest Winter, on a soundtrack that just came out about 6 weeks ago.
Well, the soundtrack was before everything else. So before the novel, which came out last week, and there's an accompanying poetry book which comes out next week, and then there's this CD. So once again, it's just a matter of, okay, I've always been an author of poetry books. So now people have a novel from me, and like, oh my goodness, you're a natural storyteller, so it makes sense you wrote a book, so I wrote a book. Some people still are in tune to my poetry, so they'll grab the poetry book as well. And then some people who would like to listen to poetry over music, they'll grab the CD. So each one, and they're all available at my website, iblowyourmind.net.
Right. So you have two websites. The one I'm looking at now is called Reverb Nation, REVERB Nation.com, and there's videos and downloads for your songs. But then your regular website is actually got a different name.
iblowyourmind.net.
iblowyourmind.net. Okay, and so that's you telling poetry. We will be irrevocably changed. You're gonna blow our mind, right?
I honestly believe, yes, I honestly believe that you have to create something else other than yourself in this field. So, like, um, as a performer, as a poet, as even as an actor, you have to give yourself a different niche and a different shine because everybody, otherwise you'll shine like everybody else, and that's not what you want. You have to have something to set you apart. A lot of me, for me, is a lot of branding, a lot of titles. My titles stand out to people. Things I say, catchphrases. I'm a combination of perhaps Langston Hughes, 50 Cent, and you pick your favorite wrestler, The Rock or Ric Flair, and you put those together, and you have me.
A wrestler?
The bravado. If you've ever, for people who grew up watching wrestling like I did, Ric Flair, The Rock, guys who did great interviews, they had this larger than life persona where you believed them. Even if you said to yourself, okay, wrestling's not particularly real or whatever the case may be, you believed what they were saying because they convinced you and they made you want to watch. Well, despite what anybody may say or think, you have to watch. You have to pay attention to what I'm doing because I'm constantly telling you, I'm constantly letting you know, and make it bigger than life and what have you. I got to see what this guy's about. I need to understand what makes him so great, what makes him so electrifying, and people watch and find out. So you know, I get to do that. That's my stuff.
So you're talking about what makes your performance compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't look away. You really have to see what's going on there. It magnetizes your audience.
I take no days off. I take no days off. I take no performances off. No matter what it is, I could be full health, a little under the weather, whatever the case may be, tired, whatever the case, you're going to get everything from me. I'll deal with whatever afterwards, but when it's time to go, I'm going to go, and you're going to say, oh my God, he just really brought it. I like what he said. I like the way he did. The Hard Rock Cafe performance, a lot of people said he was so energetic, your energy. And I said, I felt different than I had before. Big stage, no poet had ever performed there. So it's like, wow, let's give it to him. And the music got going, and you know, people, you got to give it. People come and see you. You have to give them your best.
Yes.
Whether they paid or not, if they came to see you, give them the best. Make them have a good time. Make them laugh. Make them feel like I saw something special that night. I want to come back again. It's what you're supposed to do.
That's right. That's right. So I know today is not your usual venue, and we don't have a stage, and you don't have your band, and there's no audience that's really visible to you except for me, but I promise to be a very good audience. What would you like to show us for a few minutes that would feel appropriate for our audience today?
The universal thing that no matter gender, race, age, is bullying. In the 6th grade, I dealt with bullying for several months. And this is my story. I won a couple of contests with this story. And this is called Bully, My Chocolate Milk. Every day, my mother would make 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, cut them down the middle. She'd throw an apple, a pear, some sort of fruit, give me a chocolate chip cookie, and give me 25 cents for chocolate milk. Now, I'm a 6th grader at Myra Bradwell Elementary School, and I don't know what love is. But they say it's a good thing. If that's the case, I love chocolate milk. It's the bestest thing ever. Every day at 12:05 p.m., myself and the rest of the 6th graders would go and do what 6th graders do. We'd eat our lunches, complain about all the homework we had, and look forward towards the weekend. And everything was good until about 12:25 p.m. come. He is Eric the bully. And Eric's favorite thing to eat at lunchtime is whatever you had in your lunch bag. If you had 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches cut down the middle, that was Eric's favorite sandwich. You had an apple, pear, some sort of fruit, that was Eric's favorite fruit. A chocolate cookie, his favorite cookie. But his favorite thing for the last month had been chocolate milk. And he picked on one 6th grader in particular. That was me. But that came to an end that day because my mother didn't give me 25 cents for Eric to drink chocolate milk. She gave it to me, so I did, and it was delicious. Circle forward to 3 o'clock p.m. I look across at Eric sitting 2 rows over, and he gives me the universal sign. He's going to beat me up at 3:15. At 3:10 p.m., I look across at Eric again, and he gives me the sign that he's going to beat me up at 3:15. But at 3:12 p.m., something strange happened. I give Eric the sign. I'm going to beat him up at 3:15. And that's strange because Eric has failed the 6th grade twice. He's bigger, stronger, and faster than the rest of us 6th graders, and he comes in at 6'2", 187 pounds. Whew. It is now 3:14:55, 3:14:56. I grabbed my Chicago Cubs baseball hat, and I got to tell you, it was my grandma's favorite team, not mine. That's the only reason I had the hat. I look across at Eric one last time, and before the teacher can say class dismissed, I'm boom out of my chair, down 1 flight, 2 flights, 3 flights of stairs, and I've gotten away from the bully. But as I told you, Eric has failed the 6th grade twice. He's bigger, stronger, and faster than the rest of the 6th graders, and he's right behind me. As we run down Saginaw, we make a right at 78th Street. We make a left in the alley. Make another left through Mrs. Johnson's yard. And today, of all days, her Doberman Pinscher is free. Narrowly evading the animal, I get over the other side of the fence, and I make a prayer. Not a good one, but I make a prayer nevertheless, and I say, Lord, could you let the dog eat Eric? But as I said, Eric has failed the 6th grade twice. He's bigger, stronger, and faster than the rest of us 6th graders, and he is the best athlete in our school. So he jumps over the fence, gets around the Doberman Pinscher, over the fence again, and right behind me, back on Saginaw towards 79th Street, where my mother is waiting in front of our home. Telepathically, I sent a message to my mom. Hey, Mom, hey, don't wait. Help me. Don't you see this monster that's failed the 6th grade twice? He wants to beat me up because I didn't give him my chocolate milk. Ma, help! My mom, loving her son, continues to wave. I am on my own. On the south side of Chicago, the streets are decrepit, and sometimes the sidewalks reflect that. That's the way it is on Saginaw, and it's rained for the last 4 days, so it's like a giant moat. To avoid getting anything on my school clothes, I run through the grass. Eric sees his opportunity. He comes running through the water, trips up, off, boom, splash. I keep running. In situations like this, there are children disguised as jackals. They don't do anything. They don't say anything. They don't help. They don't call for help. They just point and laugh at whoever they think is losing. I'm still running. When I get to the safety of near my mom, I turn around and I see Eric rising from the water, drenched, soaking, angry, seething, and we lock gazes. And we learn 2 things in that moment, that day. Eric learns that he will never drink my chocolate milk again. And I learned for that to be true, there are going to be some days I have to stand and fight, or do like I did today and run from the bully. Thank you.
That was really cool, man. I was right with you. I was running. I'm out of breath. I can feel him behind me. I'm totally scared. I want my mother to come and get me. I was really in the story with you. That was so vivid.
Thank you.
Amazing. So one of the things I was noticing when you were doing that is the context that you would repeat certain themes or certain phrases about, this Eric being failed twice and being bigger, stronger, and faster than everyone, and that was a big thing. And I wondered if there really was such a person in your life. Was there somebody like that was in your class?
Oh, it was a true story.
Ah.
Yeah, that was a true story. I could see running, and that just was one day. These were several days on end, running, standing up, getting beat up, and so on and so forth. So yeah.
Well, now here's something you don't know about me because you didn't get a chance to look at my resume because I did not send it to you. But I used to work for an organization called Safe School Ambassadors at Community Matters. It's an anti-bullying program that's all through a lot of schools in Chicago. It's all around the world, actually, a lot of schools in this country. I was the outreach director for 5 years. I helped bring the program to Chicago. A lot of my friends were trainers for it, still doing it. And it is a program in which those jackals that you call them, those bystanders, the leaders among those kids are trained to do anti-bullying interventions. And they are empowered by knowing this. And because they change the way they behave when something like that is going down, they interrupt it, they stop it, they fight back, they protect the person who's being bullied. The entire culture and atmosphere at the schools change. And it totally works. And so I was really fascinated by that because you brought up the very point, which is without the audience, the bullies don't get very far.
No.
If any one of those bystanders steps up, the bullies get deflated, and eventually they get absolutely stopped.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so I wish you had had people like that for you when you were a kid.
Yeah.
You know, that's really the truth. And I've been on both sides of that when I was growing up. I was bullied, I was a bully, I was a bystander, all three sides. And most people are. At various points in our lives, we inhabit all three of those roles at various points. And that's part of what the training is about. And adults and kids take the training because you have to recognize what is each of those roles. And when do you get to play each one? And some of it is a choice.
It is. It
right?
is. Because I became the bully. I became the bully after. There's another story in which I deal with Eric finally, and I became a bully of bullies. So I didn't bully like people who were like me at first, but I bullied bullies, sort of like a Robin Hood of bullies or what have you. But yeah, you do go through that.
Like a vigilante.
Right. Oh, great word. Great word. And I love superheroes. Great word.
And a superhero. Yeah, exactly like that. Like Batman.
Yeah. Dark Knight is awesome. You can't lose with that. Anytime you can mention Batman, it's always a great conversation.
It's true. It's true. Well, one of the things that's so important about Batman is he didn't have superpowers.
He didn't. A lot of people don't thank you for saying that. A lot of people don't get that. Oh my goodness. They always say Superman, and yeah, that was cool. He could fly and all that. But kryptonite would knock him right out. You know, Batman didn't have those weaknesses. Sure, he couldn't fly. Sure, he wasn't fast. His mind was the sharpest. He was good in clutch situations. Batman is just the best.
He had incredible courage and ingenuity, and he got some skills. He got some real skills.
Yes, he did.
But that's it. He's just a human being. He didn't have invulnerability. A bullet could kill him.
Right.
Somebody could set him on fire. Somebody could hit him with a car. He was very brave to do the things he did.
Yes. Yes.
I think he was a great role model for kids because kids could aspire to be better, but they couldn't aspire to be super.
No, not at all. That's great. That's a great point. No, because anybody, when you look at it, anybody could be Batman. Maybe you're not swinging from building to building, but in your own life, you could be better than you are.
Right.
Your mind can be sharp. Your body can be sharp.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I like the new versions of it where they actually have him training with Tibetan monks and martial artists and very spiritually advanced people to hone his mind and to hone his body so that he doesn't just stumble upon these skills or watch a few karate movies. He really trains.
Yes, he does. Vigilantly trained.
Yes. It's a lot of discipline, a lot of commitment, a lot of repetition. He didn't wake up one day and say, oh, now I can do all these things.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
And the same for you. Like, you must have spent years perfecting the kind of poetry performing that you do. So when was your debut of your new style that you now call your own? Do you remember when that was?
That happened in 2010.
Okay. And were you nervous about making this your first performance in a new way?
No, because I knew I gradually started changing, and and said to myself, I videotaped myself, and I videotaped myself a lot, and a lot of that is for I can go back, put it up, and say, okay, what did we do really, really well? Excuse me, and what could be improved? Did I use my brother was a big proponent of my voice, the way I use my voice. So he said in one instance you could sound like this, and then all of a sudden you need to go and drop your tone down, and that the inflections make a difference in the presentation. So these were things I would look at and just start gradually changing and implementing until they became what they are now. So no, it wasn't so much a difficult thing at all. It just once you make the adjustment, realize this is best for not only me, but for the people who come to listen to me.
Well, one thing I noticed about the piece you just did for us about bullying was you're very, very good at pacing. Like you would get faster at the right point, you would get slower at the right point, and at your volume. Like you got louder, and then you got quieter, and it really did change the mood when you wanted it to. It was very skillful. I appreciated that.
Thank you. I try to make it cinematic. I think, and I could see when I tell that story, certain stories I tell, I see the images in my head because they happen. So I'm not the best at, making up stuff because it's not convincing. It's not true to life. So I can see the images, and that's what I'm telling you. The images I see in my head, I'm seeing in front of me like a giant movie screen. I'm telling you.
Yeah, well, that's how a lot of fiction writers do it. That's how I do my Spanish series. As true to life as possible, a lot of the situations and scenery and people and situations that I write about in the Spanish series come from my own life and the lives of people I know, but I changed parts of it so they're not exactly the same, so that they are fictionalized. And then some things are completely made up. And what I love about my books is that people will come to me after they read them and say, well, what parts are true? Like they can't tell, right? And I'm like, oh, well, that's fine. I don't care if you don't know. And I write about aliens. I write about a woman around my age getting visited by aliens, and the whole thing starts that way. And I had people who read the first chapters calling me up, people in my family, my best friends calling me up and saying, are you okay? Are you hallucinating? Are there aliens in your room? Like, they really thought it was happening to me, and I'm like, well, I'm not telling.
That just shows the adeptness of your writing and how much detail you put into it. It makes it believable.
It is totally believable, and people were upset when I wouldn't answer. So I'm like, well, then you just have to keep reading, and you'll find out. Or watch the news. If it's not on the news, that's probably a good deal that it's not happening right now, right? So you won't believe it, that we are almost at a quarter of the hour. Can you believe how fast this goes?
Time flies when you're having fun.
Totally. So I'm going to ask you that question that I promised that I ask every one of my guests, because the name of my show is Changes. And what I'm interested in is, given the local, personal, regional, statewide, national, global, political, spiritual, economic, climactic, environmental, and any other kind of changes in the arts that you're aware of, which one's arousing you hope? Which one's arousing you fear? What would you like to talk about regarding changes? Take it away, James Gordon.
One of the positive changes locally is the advent of live lit. Live lit has gotten really big here in my city. The storytelling, readings and such. There's one that goes on every night. Anybody can go and tell a story. A lot of times, open mics. I had to close the door. Anybody can go tell a story. You can show up anywhere at a given place, you sign up, and they call your name. Like last night, I did the Moth, which is a national storytelling competition. Finished third.
Congratulations! That is a big deal. I listen to that all the time.
Yeah. So that's very positive because that unites people. No matter what gender, no matter what race, religion, whatever the case may be, what you are before you get to the venue, you start sharing a story. You're sharing part of yourself, and it takes courage. Not everybody does that with the story. Get up and tell a story, personal or what have you. So it takes a lot of courage. So I'm very encouraged by that, and that it connects. Then it goes outside of my city and connects across cities and states. So I'm very encouraged by those changes. Um, one of the things that makes me a little nervous, and you and I here dispel part of that for a while, but the idea of race and the concept of race relations has gotten more tenuous. It's scary. It's scary, tenuous, because at any moment you get the feeling, just me from events and watching on things on social network, that it could just explode.
Yep.
And at any place, at any given time, it could just because people are angry, people are frustrated, and that's scary to me, because I myself, I'm a happy-go-lucky type of dude. I get up, I'm around my family every day. I get to do things I enjoy doing. I'm blessed and fortunate to live this life that I have. But I understand the realities of, one, I'm black, I'm a black man, and in my city is the fourth most, it dropped from number one, fourth most segregated city in the United States. So there are realities, harsh realities there that you have to deal with. And it's not just here, and it's just me. It now seems all over, from events dealing with police and things of that nature. So that's scary to me. I would like for things to calm down, but every day or every week you see something that makes you shake your head like, oh my goodness, and you don't want to see that, but when you see it, you see it. So that's something I would like to change, or like change soon. And I know something like that can't happen soon, but as much as possible, I'd like for that to happen, that to change.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I don't know how many of the viewers know this, but I live in St. Louis, Missouri right now, which is where Ferguson is.
Right.
And that has certainly been in the news for the last 10 months. And right. I moved here right after that happened, but I grew up here. So I wasn't here for 42 years, but I was here in the 70s and the 60s, and now I'm here again. And right. One of the things I know that's true is it is not just Ferguson. Right. Even right here in St. Louis, it's not just Ferguson. And it's not just St. Louis. It's not just Chicago. It's not just any one place. It is a huge problem, and not just in this country. It is a huge problem. All of the different ways that people are treated badly because of how they look or what religion they practice or assumptions people make about them that turn them into violent people. It's a horrible thing. And you've got anti-Semitism that's really been a problem right along. And I don't really think it's new. What I think is new is how much political and media coverage every one of these incidents gets. And then on social media, how much it's repeated and added to, and everybody talking about it. So we have had lynchings and murders and genocide ever since there have been humans.
Yes.
For horrible reasons, But now it's like instantly you know about it, and instantly there are thousands or millions or even billions of people who are weighing in on it. So it gets much more weight, much more intensity.
Yes, definitely. The social media, which I want to make sure I phrase this right. Social media is a wonderful thing when used for like people who are authors and performers. It gives us a chance to connect with not only readers, but other people who do the same things we do, or different avenues, like me connecting with you, being able to do this interview, and connecting with different people who don't live in the same city, same state, same country. You're able to connect via social media, and that's a tremendous asset to whatever you're doing. It facilitates progress. On the flip side, and like most things, on the flip side, like we said in reference to some of these incidents, you'll see some video of somebody fighting. You'll see it 100 times shared in one day. And I always say to myself, if you could share somebody fighting, can't you share somebody graduating from college? Can't you share act of heroism? Can't you share that? But negativity and things of that nature are big draws. Like a car crash, people stop and look at a car crash as opposed to someone who may need help changing a tire.
Right.
It's the nature of our society, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, I subscribe to some things to counteract that personally. One of them is called the Kindness Chronicles, KINDNESS.com, and another one is called Elephant Journal. And both of these bring together some of those positive stories and examples of people reaching out to each other, doing heroic things, doing small things to make each other's lives better, to improve animals, to improve the environment. Because I need that balance, or you just get this steady diet of negativity, and I think it poisons all of us.
It does. It does. It seeps right in. And you know, have you ever ran into a person and the person just has this negative aura? Everything that they say is just, oh my God, it's just gloom and doom. And no matter how positive you are, that can seep into your consciousness. And if your armor isn't built up enough, it'll affect you that particular moment, that day, and you don't realize, why do I feel this way? And it's because you had this interaction with this individual. So yeah, man.
Yeah, you know what they call that in the New Age vernacular? They call those people energy vampires.
Ah.
Or they call them energy black holes.
Ah.
Because they really do suck out your energy if you aren't properly shielded, like you said. And they really are looking for an unwarranted amount of attention for negativity. And they're not good for themselves or for anybody else.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, you do.
Sounds about right.
So talk to us a little bit. We only have a few more minutes. Talk to us about what's coming up for you in the next few weeks or months that you want people to know about.
I'm very excited. I finally sat down long enough, because I'm a hyper guy, and wrote my first novel, The Warmest Winter, a James Gordon mystery. And it's set here in Chicago. It is what it is. It's a whodunit, and I'm not going to tell you anything else. But I'm really proud of it. It's, from what I've heard so far, from reviews I've gotten, it's gripping, it's captivating, it moves at a great pace. So it's on Amazon. It's also available on my website, iblowyourmind.net. Next week, we released the poetry collection, also titled, The Warmest Winter. And I released it on the same day that it'll be on Chicago Fire and the Big Explosion episode. I mean, this episode is just huge. I mean, it's one of those things, and it's also a crossover, because there's a new show coming called Chicago Med. So it leads into, and they've done it already with a couple of episodes, but this directly happens in Chicago Med. So that crossover is there. April is National Poetry Month. So on April 10th, I host an open mic every second Friday of the month, actually. But on April 10th, we host an open mic called Poetry's Love Letter. It's at Let Them Eat Chocolate, 5306 North Damon, 7 p.m. And we got great features, open mic, and it's a great time. We have poets, storytellers, musicians, and it's a great time. So that, and then I have a couple of book fairs that I always post. One of the things about following me anywhere on social network, I'll always tell you where I'm at, what I'm doing. So if you're anywhere in the locale or you need to know something, I'm going to tell you. I'm one of those people. The only way you're going to know is if I tell you. So I tell everything. So those are the things I have coming up next. Immediately.
That is great. That is great. So you have poetry performances coming up. You have TV appearances coming up. You have the release of your novel that's going to coincide with this anthology of poetry. And then you have this incredible open mic that you're hosting.
Yes.
Wow, you are like a very busy person. I'm impressed with all of that. And then do you bring along new poets, new performers for these open mics?
Every month there's somebody new to feature. And there are new people always show to sign up. So it's very encouraging. It's not about, and I don't say this just to sound politically correct or whatever, but there's no money made for me from hosting this open mic. It's just an opportunity to create synergy among poets, among storytellers, among comedians, in this community. So they just come, and there's not a cover charge, but we do pass the hat to give the money to the features, because that's what it's all about.
Very good, very good. Well, I don't get paid to do this either, and I haven't been earning a lot of money from my novels. So one of the things I've been doing that I really need to do is try to get some money for my next book cover, to try to turn these video casts into podcasts, to try to get a little bit better equipment. So I have a crowdfunding campaign. I want to just remind everybody, if you're feeling a little bit flushed, $4 or more will get you a free ebook and up to however much you want to contribute. It's on patreon.com. So it's patreon.com/Sally Ember. And I have some videos on there that explain what I'm going to try to accomplish with the money. And I have another one on there of me singing. It's really bad. I'm singing a song about what happened to me. I was in a bad accident a year ago that caused a concussion and a lot of problems since then that I'm still recovering from. So I haven't been able to get back to my writing the way I'd like, and I'd really appreciate some help because it just completely depressed my finances, to say the least. So patreon.com/Sally Ember, you can support this author who supports other authors, and that's one way to pass it forward and pay it forward. And then I also want to remind everybody that James Gordon is available on his own downloads on his songs that he performs with music and poetry on ReverbNation.com and on IBlowYourMind.com.
.net.
I'm sorry, .net. Thank you for that correction. Yes, and next week on this show, on Changes, I'm going to have another author from the Cygnus, CYGNUS, Cygnus Award winners of sci-fi. A few weeks ago, I had Lori Farrelly, who was a Cygnus Award winner, and this upcoming week, I'm going to have Rob Slater. So as a sci-fi writer, I have a special place in my heart for other sci-fi writers, but as you know, this show is very eclectic, and I love having all different kinds of creative people on here. So if you want to be on my show, or you know somebody who would be a good fit for this kind of a conversation, it's very free-flowing. We don't really do it like an interview. Is it fun, James? Did you have fun?
Hey, this was great. I mean, once we got past all the explanations and technical stuff which was necessary, and I want to tell you in front of everybody, thank you for being so patient with me getting it together. Sometimes I get inundated and don't do exactly as I'm supposed to. My mother would say that. Thank you so much for that and for having me on today. I had a great time.
Well, you are most welcome, and thanks for sticking with it because the tech stuff is a little tricky for everybody. I will tell you, this is my 26th episode, well, 25 with guests, and every single one of them has had a tech issue of some kind or another, without exception. Sometimes it's on my side, sometimes it's on both sides, sometimes it's the other side, sometimes it's just Google, who the heck knows. So I expect it, and that's why we start before the show and prepare, because you just never know. So thank you for hanging in and coming on the show. I know you've been extremely busy. I know you had to postpone and reschedule, and I appreciate your commitment and your perseverance.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing that as well. Thank you.
It worked out really well for me, and I want to just explain to everybody that this show is taped on April 1st, 2015, but it is not an April Fool's show. We played it straight.
Nope.
It is totally serious in the ways that it is, and funny when it's funny, but no pranks on the show.
None.
And you can watch it anytime on YouTube or go to the event page and see some photos of James' cover for his book or of James himself, and all the information we mentioned about his appearances and his websites are on the event page on Google. You can go to my website, sallyember.com, and go to my changes page, and you can find all the different URLs for this and every other show in the past and in the future, or go to my YouTube page and run the whole playlist. You're sitting around, you don't know what to do, you want to just get inspired, listen to these conversations. The people I've had on here, without exception, are fantastic. Interesting, creative people. And thank you, James, for being one of them.
Thank you so much again for having me. I appreciate it very much.
Right. You are quite welcome, and I want to give a shout out to everybody for watching now or in the future. And as I say to everybody at the end, go well with your changes. Bye-bye.
Bye now.